Kanupiam, welcome to the Tomaquag Museum's virtual Maple Sugar Moon celebration. Today, you're in for a sweet treat. Saquon, spring is almost here. Soon, new life will be hatching, budding, and being born all around us. The earth will reawaken, and the grounds will begin to thaw. Traditionally, this season marks the start of a new year. One of the signs that spring is on its way is a change in the weather. The nights may remain freezing cold, but the days are warming up. During this change of season, a gift is given to us from the trees. Weekápaheek, sweet water. It's time for maple sugar. A spile, or tap, often carved from staghorn sumac or elderberry, would be tapped into the tree using a stone hammer to allow the sap to flow out. Baskets constructed from birch bark, a material with antibacterial properties, would be placed on the ground below to catch the dripping sap. Although maples are most well known for sugaring, other trees can also be tapped, like shagbark hickory, black walnut, and sweet birch. The clear liquid sap, Weekápaheek, the sweet water, flows from the tree during the day as long as the temperatures warm to above freezing, 32 degrees. Each night as the temperature falls below freezing, the sap stops running. It takes about 40 gallons of sap boiled down to make just 1 gallon of syrup. Such a precious gift. Sugars made from tree sap were the only sugars traditionally available to the Indigenous people of the Northeast region. That is why we celebrate the Maple Sugar Moon, to thank Creator for this sweet gift, a celebration shared by many Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island for centuries. Thank you for joining us today for a celebration of the Maple Sugar Moon. Today's program has been made possible with the support of United Way, the Pepito Opportunity Connection, the Island Foundation, Tides, the Rhode Island State Council for the Arts, and of course, community donors like you. Katabatush to you all for your ongoing support. Weekápaheek, Mashantucket Sugar Shack. This publication was researched and written by Mashantucket Pequot members Jeremy Whipple and Candace Testa. The faces of Pequot tribal members were used in the watercolor illustrations created by Patrice LaPera. Katabatush, thank you to the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation for allowing us to share an excerpt from this book with you today. The Legend of Weekápaheek. Did you know that many, many moons ago, the maple trees here were filled with maple syrup? Not sap, but a thick syrup called Weekápaheek, meaning sweet soup. The people could get Weekápaheek at any time of year. It was the sweetest gift from the Creator, and all the people had to do was drill a hole in the bark, pound in a tap, and place a bucket under the flow of Weekápaheek. One day, the giant came to a village to see how the people were doing, but he couldn't find anyone anywhere.
It is summer, so maybe the people are tending their cornfields.
Do you think they were tending their cornfields?
Mata. Maybe they are out picking berries. They really do love strawberries.
Do you think they were picking strawberries?
Mata.
Oh, thought the giant.
They must be fishing.
Do you think they were fishing?
Mata.
Finally, the giant found the people. And do you know what they were doing? They were lying on the ground under the maple trees with their mouths open, just letting the syrup flow right into their mouths. Oh, the horror of it all! Seeing the people like this disappointed the giant because they were taking the Weekápaheek for granted. They did not honor and respect this gift from the Creator. So the giant made a large bark basket and carried it to the lake. He then filled up his basket with the precious water and dumped the water into the tops of all the trees. Do you know what that did? It made the syrup thin and watery, which became the sap that now flows out of the trees. In order for the people to truly honor and respect anything, the things they want cannot be gotten too easily. So if they want Weekápaheek, they would have to wait until the nights are below freezing and the days are warm. They would have to gather 40 baskets of tree sap and boil it down for hours with hot stones in order to make one basket of Weekápaheek. All of the hard work needed to make the Weekápaheek made the people honor and respect the Weekápaheek once more. The Pequot people must work very hard to make maple syrup. They know that when the sap begins moving in the trees, it marks the beginning of spring at Mashantucket. The families traditionally gather in the sugar bush for the first Thanksgiving of the year. There is a lot of work to be done to turn the tree sap into delicious syrup, so everyone lends a hand. The people share their stories and songs and dance in Thanksgiving for the gift of maple trees. That's Maple Sugar Thanksgiving.
Hi, my name is Robin Spears. I'm Narragansett, and I am an artist in residence for Tomaquag Museum. I am going to be teaching you how to tap a maple tree. So when I'm looking for a maple tree, they all come in different ways and patterns, but I usually look for a smooth trunk, and I determine on the size of tree by hugging it, and if I can lock my hands, then it's the perfect size. So first, when you start out, you have to cut out a diagram of a triangle. It's usually elongated so that when the sap melts out the tree, it has somewhere to direct. You have to pretty much cut a notch into the tree by making a long triangle. Best time to get sap out of a maple tree would probably be between February to April, but you can also tap sooner than that. It just will take longer for sap to produce because it's still frozen in the tree. Once you get the triangle cut out, you have to put the tapper stub into the tree down at the bottom of the V so that when the sap runs out, it'll collect into the faucet and drop into a bucket. And then it pretty much just directs the sap to go into your bucket versus it splattering all over the tree. That is your sap faucet. That's where your sap or sugar water is going to come out from. And you would either have, back in the day, a dugout bowl, or nowadays we just use buckets or water bottles, like gallon water bottles. Preferably when you pick out a tree, it has to be probably a foot wide in diameter for the trunk. You can tap smaller trees, you're just not going to produce as much sap as what you would want. You can tap any type of tree, but the reason why we tap maple trees is because they produce the most sugar in trees. You could tap an oak or a birch tree, but it would just probably be bland in taste and wouldn't be that great. I think I believe it takes 8 hours to boil down the sugar water into sap. But if you have like 4 gallons of sugar water, you're probably only going to get a quart of sap.
That's sap. See? This one has a lot more. And it's still dripping. I'll check my other one. It's still coming. So the first week I did it, I have 3 buckets set up, they were all full from 1 week. Now the weather is too cold, like it's not warming up quite enough, so it's not running as much. So now this is Sunday, it will be 2 weeks that we've been collecting this sap, and you can see how very little and I knew that would be the case because it's not warming up quite as much as it did a couple of weeks ago. This is a good producer. And this is a sugar maple. Collect that. So this one is about half full. So welcome to Tomaquag Museum's Maple Thanksgiving cooking demonstration with Chef Charles Hankinson. Chef Charles is an enrolled citizen of the Narragansett Indian Tribal Nation whose passion for cooking led him to attend and graduate from Johnson & Wales University's 4-year culinary arts program in 1994. His cooking skills have enabled employment by many institutions across the United States throughout the years and led him back to his homeland here in Rhode Island, where he is currently employed as a catering chef for the Kraft Group, owner of the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. So good afternoon, Chef.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you're cooking and tasting the things that you're cooking using the maple today. So as you get started, please share what you will be preparing for us today and how you will use maple in your recipe.
Yeah, well, what we're going to do is we're going to start with some salmon that we're going to pan-sear and finish in the oven. It's going to be topped with a light organic maple syrup glaze with a little bit of mustard, sea salt, local pepper, wild onions as your garnish. I have obtained local butternut squash, and then we'll be using as your starch will be a wild rice blend. Wild rice was indigenous throughout Indian country before disease and everything else took it over. And I'm trying to keep everything as close to home as humanly possible. The salmon at one time did run free through these waters here on the Atlantic coast in the Northeast region. So I was able to do this menu with that in mind.
Wonderful. It sounds wonderful. In fact, many people don't know that the town of Weekápaheek is actually the Narragansett word for place of the redfish, which speaks to salmon being native to
Correct.
this place.
Yeah. In case you're wondering, it pulls out any excess moisture and it won't let your fish shrink. Right now what we're going to do is lightly season the fillets. And yes, I do cook like this at home. See, when you can cook / bake like this, simplicity is always best. So let's get that nice little orange going. We're going to do this to 145. And as soon as we flip it, we're going to get it right into the oven. Okay, so since we're doing the video, I will measure. I will measure for this case for those who, if, once this gets shown, if he or she wants to try it. One of the best things about this is we're not doing something where he or she would feel intimidated to try it. So, but like this one here is so close to being like just harvested, it's gonna have to be rinsed at least twice to get any of the, what they call wood fibers off of the wild rice. Let it simmer. Make sure you stir it so all your starch doesn't get stuck to the bottom. But right now we're gonna go, I'm just gonna dump some of the butternut squash. I know I have quite a bit, but it's okay. So put enough to roast it, saute it, however you want to do it. Parents tell you don't play with your food. Now I get paid to play with food. I really encourage parents, especially for the males, do it. Because no matter what profession that you're in, everybody has to eat. So we're gonna take a little bit of butter and olive oil. I love the combination, personally. Honestly, one professional chef who I met, very famous, he's passed away now, Anthony Bourdain. I met him in DC. We were doing this fundraiser for a homeless shelter. And I was actually one of the chefs who was able to cook. And my name is not huge, it's not big or anything, and he approached me and he's like, hey, you have an extra, yeah, I have an extra with a cigarette. I'm not gonna lie. And so we went outside. And I'm standing there with Anthony Bourdain. It's like, what the heck? And so what are you making today? I was like, well, this is what they had me do, and this is my crew, and boom, boom, boom. And so I had introduced him to my crew who were at one time homeless and or incarcerated. So there was a kitchen that was strictly to get people back on their feet.
Kisatai, Weekápaheek, Kisatai, Weekápaheek, Weekápaheek, Topic, Weekápaheek, Topic.
Asquequasim, Canupium at Tomaquag Museum's Maple Sugar Tabutang Tamuang. Hello and welcome to Tomaquag Museum's Maple Sugar Thanksgiving. Traditionally, the Narragansett people had 13 Thanksgivings a year. These weren't always static. Sometimes these would rotate. There were certain Thanksgivings that we had every year, like our green corn Thanksgiving. There's some, like our whaling moon, that might shift. Maple sugar is one of these consistent Thanksgivings. Many people may not know, we didn't have a lot of sweeteners, traditionally speaking. We had berries, and as the seasons go on, the berries start to get more tart. Maple sugar really was a blessing and a gift to our people because it brought that sweetness back into our lives.
When you think about, like today it's quite easy to access maple syrup, but to think our people really made maple sugar which could be stored for a long time.
I really like when the maple sugar crystallizes, and that I love that little candy.
And so as we're going about today, our people were based in gratitude, and I want us to just have that mindfulness of like, what am I grateful for today? I was actually going to start with us introducing ourselves in the language. So for example, I'll say, Nataswis Lindsay, and everyone will say, Asquequasin Lindsay. Asquequasin Charente. Asquequasin Yoyache. Asquequasin Mashisha.
My name is Mashisha. Hi, my name is Missionagwes, and I'm a part of the Narragansett tribe, and this is my twin.
Hello, I'm Rich Burrell from the Narragansett Indian tribe, and I'm 20 years old.
Asquequasin, Natasawis Eleanor Dove Harris from the Narragansett Niantic tribe.
Natasawis Don Charente Harris, also from the Narragansett tribe.
We've been married 27 years.
OCO, I'm Vanessa Lilly. I'm 43, and my tribe is the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma.
Hi, my name is Dawn Dove, and I'm 74, and I am Narragansett. Okay, I'm Lori Hazit, and I'm Dawn's sister, and I'm 66 years young, Narragansett.
Asquequasin, my name is Charente Mishitashin. I am 23 years old, and these are my younger brothers.
I'm Tomaquag, I'm 15, and I'm from the Narragansett tribe.
I'm Yoyache, I'm 13, and I'm from the Narragansett tribe too.
And I'm from the Narragansett tribe too.
My name is Melissa Smith, I'm 12 years old, I'm part of the Narragansett tribe, and this is my dad.
My name is Stephen Smith, I'm 38 years old, I'm part of the Narragansett Indian tribe, and this is my daughter.
Day when we can get together and have a ceremony and share stories and food and connect back to the land and the tribes that are here.
I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for the nice day and for time for us to be together. Absolutely.
All right, could everyone please stand now and we can start our opening prayer and ceremony?
My favorite part about the Thanksgiving was the story.
I loved hearing the story of Charente sharing one of the stories about the different figures in Narragansett history and culture, and sharing of stories like that is really powerful and something I hope communities continue to do.
Many, many moons ago, in Nuata, the old time, Weekápaheek, the great-grandfather of the Narragansett people, our culture hero, the great trickster and transformer, set about shaping the world so that all would be wonderful and beautiful all the time. Back in those days when all creatures spoke the same language, it was always summer. And as Weekápaheek watched over the days, he taught the birds their songs and the animals their dances, and gave each of the berries their sweet taste and rich color. And one of his greatest gifts to the Narragansett people was Ananatag, the maple tree. Back in those days, the maple trees would run with maple syrup, thick and sweet, all year round. All you would have to do is break off a branch of that tree, and out would come pouring tons and tons of that sweet maple syrup. Now, Weetápaheek departed to that place which no man knoweth, and when he returned amongst the Narragansett people many moons later, he found that all of them had spent their days since he had left with their heads lifted up, laying back under the trees, and their mouths wide open, catching that maple syrup and tasting it down their throat. They neglected to take care of all of their relations and instead spent their days lazing away in gluttony. And Weetápaheek thought to himself, well, we cannot have this if we want the Narragansett people to continue for the next 7 generations to come. Now, Weetápaheek was the child of Akianat, our Mother Earth, and Chikisuwan, that Western spirit. And so Weetápaheek called to the west wind, and sure enough, that Western spirit came, blowing Chikisu, that violent wind. And upon that wind rode the thunder beings. And the thunder beings came amongst the land and began to dance their rain dances. And an onslaught of mighty torrential downpour fell upon the land and filled all of the trees with water, diluting that maple syrup into sugar water. And then from the northwest came Paponitan, that winter wind. And that wind came and froze all of the trees and cast a frost upon the landscape. And when those trees froze up, that water stopped running. Now Weetápaheek instructed the people that it would not be summer all year round anymore, but that they must work hard to take care of one another and to provide for their families to keep balance. And if they worked hard throughout the year, once they made it through the cold winter, there would be a gift waiting for them. And Weetápaheek taught the people how to tap the trees and how to give great thanksgiving for their sugar water, how to boil it and how to prepare it. And today we have much less of that maple sugar, but it makes it all the more sweeter. And for this, we thank Weetápaheek and we thank our ancestors, for we, the next generations to come, have continued, and this is how we remember.
My favorite part was the maple tapping.
Mine too.
Tomaquag is the birch box that comes up on 4 sides, and the sugar was stored in it.
Kind of hard with the bucket.
I like this song because it taught some people how to sing a new song and they'll learn their language, and it got me to be more like socialized and sing and not be nervous.
My favorite part of the event was the feeling of community.
Oh, so now we're going to share with you a song, and this is a song of tapping the sugar tree, and we're all going to sing this together.
And it goes, Kisutai, Weekápaheek, Kisutai, Weekápaheek, we beneath, Tapi, we beneath, Happy.
One more time. Isatai, Weekápaheek. Isatai, Weekápaheek. Weekápaheek. Tomaquag, Weekápaheek. Tomaquag. Great job.
Okay, and so before we go in, the last thing I want to do is, again, we're trying to practice our language. So Weekápaheek means thank you. And because these Thanksgivings are about gratitude, if we could go around this lumpy circle and just say one thing that we're grateful for, and trying to, at the very beginning, just saying Weekápaheek. Can we say Weekápaheek? Weekápaheek. One. I'm gonna have you start it off.
Weekápaheek, Katantua. Today I am so grateful that we're gathering today as Narragansett people and remembering the old ways and the traditions of our ancestors.
Weekápaheek, thank you for the invitation. It's wonderful, and it's especially beautiful to hear the Narragansett language.
Weekápaheek, I'm thankful for a meal I'm not going to have when I go home.
Weekápaheek, I'm thankful I'm leaving pretty soon.
Rob being my armrest.
Go ahead, let's get it.
Weekápaheek, I'm just thankful to be here.
Skylar, you have one?
Weekápaheek for this wonderful job that I have.
We love you too.
Favorite part of the event was probably eating the cookies. My favorite part of the event was probably eating cheese.
Favorite part of the event was seeing everybody that was here. I thought that was awesome, and I enjoyed that. And then I enjoyed all the goodies. I ate too much of them, but I enjoyed them. Into the colonized world, we've accepted the colonized religions and all of that, but this brings us back to our own cultural heritage, so I think it's really important.
It's important because the young ones are spending time with the elders who know how to do that, and so through just learning through doing.
And it brings the young ones together too.
I think it's important to carry on these traditions because for the next generations, they will get to know what we did before. I think it's important to carry on these traditions because it's good to know more about your culture.
So I know what kind of traditions that we do, and I can learn them.
It helps to bring our community together, and it's a good thing for us all to do. And you get a treat afterward. So.
Well, just as she said, it's important because we've lost so much already, so these things that we still have, it's important to hold on to them and pass them on.
Yeah, and I think when we're thinking about all of the different traditions that we as a people still collectively have, like so many different families have different traditional ways that they've continued and they've preserved, and it would be just so special if it could just continue to be shared and spread greater. It's like I think of when I married my husband, like he didn't dance at that point in his life. He danced as a little boy, but then had like stopped dancing, and it wasn't really something that his home did. But he was raised hunting and fishing and clamming and like doing so many of these traditional things that I wasn't raised with. So now when our two families came together, we had all of this tradition that we were able to pass on to our children. So if, as a Narragansett people, if we continue to pass on the traditions that have been passed down through our family lines to our children, just think of as time goes on how that will continue to spread and continue to help our young people to grow up in good traditional ways.
Well, I think we should continue it as a community because we need to come together as a tribe. And I mean, we can have it with the family, but I think it's better that the whole tribe does it together.
to be a community. So many people, especially after that this virus, when it was going so bad, they was just shutting down from even their family members and their friends. They were so frightened.
That's true, and this bringing us back together, and it is being a community is so important to just to know each other, and for our children to know each other and have time with one another. When you come together like this, that's what happens.
Fawn and I, it almost feels like we have memories that go right back to when we were kids, but that's because there were tribal events that we were able to come together at. And I think
we talk about them and we remember them like in different aspects of them. And remember when we were here? Remember when we used to go down to the government center in Wakefield and different things? And yes, it reinstills it within our community when we do it as a community, and it makes us closer as a community when we do these things together.
One of my favorite maple sugar memories is going back to my childhood and us cooking the maple sugar water, boiling it outside. And I remember that we cooked it for so long and it was so hot that it was the next day, and I went and I, as a curious little kid, touched the rim of what we had been boiling our sugar water in, and it gave me a very bad blister even that long after. But I have many dear memories of cooking maple sugar water each year.
Well, I love real maple syrup on pancakes, blueberry pancakes, and then you just feel like you're going to heaven for a little bit.
Right. And of course, when you're thinking of maple on pancakes, how about maple on Johnny cakes?
Oh, that was delicious too.
And then I'm also thinking of this maple tree that we tapped today, that our parents brought that tree home in the back of a station wagon. So you can imagine it was like one of these small limbs that came off of it.
That's what it looked like too when she
now
brought it
it's
home.
this great big tree.
My maple memory is when my grandmother would put maple syrup in my oatmeal to sweeten it up.
Yeah, my favorite maple memory is the song.
And when she came back here to live, I remember your Uncle Craig coming that first time that they made maple syrup and helped to tap the trees, and then also was here when they were boiling down the sugar water. So that's a special memory with, you know, your uncle having passed now, knowing that Uncle Craig was part of that tradition.
One of my memories was I got to help start the fire to cook the maple sugar water, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yes. And my sister was here, made me extra happy, as well as all those grandchildren.
Absolutely. I think this place in general is a special place and conveys a special kind of feeling.
I had a great day, and I think anytime we're in community, it is really special. And the cookies were also great.
Yes, we did. We had a great time at Maple Sugar Thanksgiving at Tomaquag Museum.
I love maple sugar! I love maple sugar!